Boom. Hey, hey, hey. Happy day, y'all. LT is in the building. Today we are talking about Bestseller Book Club 2020. We want to know how to hit bestseller. We want to know how to sell more books, but first we're going to do some Q&A, and I'm going to go into a couple questions that I keep getting online for some reason. People keep asking this question over and over again, so I want to address it. I'm going to address it tonight. I'm going to also address it in the Friday webinar series, and we're going to get straight into it. So here's the first question. How do I get over writer's block? Everybody asks that. Writers, poets, different people on Facebook, different people on Instagram. The question keeps coming up. So how do I get over writer's block? So what I tell people, I ask you a series of questions, and I'm gonna say, let's keep it real. What I have noticed when I'm having conversations with people about writer's block, I'm noticing that as they are writing and they are sharing, there are things coming up to the surface. There's things being brought up to the forefront, things that have been pushed down for a long time. And go ahead and mute somebody. I can hear some sound. Go ahead and mute your microphone for me. That way, and we'll open up everybody's mic at the end because I can hear some noises. One of the things I noticed is that people, when they're asking about writer's block, they're not really being honest about what it is that's blocking them. So I want to cover a couple of things that I have noticed just by talking to people and reading posts that people are making online. So my first thing is, I got 3 keep it's. Keep it, keep it, keep it. So the first keep it is, we're gonna just keep it real. Okay, I tell people, stop lying about the truth. A lot of times writer's block is not really like a block that's in the road. It's like something in your mind. A lot of times there's issues with fear, rejection, fear of what? Fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of humiliation. There's things that are deep-seated and rooted in anger, anxiety. There's triggering thoughts. So I just want to say right off the bat at the beginning, if you hear somebody talking about writer's block, encourage them to really start digging deep and start understanding the different layers, because this is levels to this, y'all. There's layers to this. This is like an onion. When you start writing, you are literally bearing your soul. You are literally tapping into the energy source that is bigger than you. And sometimes memories come up. So when we talk about writer's block, we need to really talk about what is going on inside of the deep parts of your mind, inside of the subconscious part of your mind, the part of your mind that you don't even realize is there. You have a lot going on. You've got memories, you've got some trauma, you've got some things that have happened that you buried and tucked away and didn't really want to deal with until they started bubbling up to the surface. So when you hear somebody say, how do I get rid of writer's block? The first thing you want to tell them is, let's keep it real. Let's talk about what is actually going on. Are you lying and saying that this is writer's block? Are you not sure? Let's dig deep. Let me ask you a couple of questions. That's the first thing I say. And I tell them, you're not blocked, you're scared. You're not blocked, you're ashamed. You're paralyzed, you're hiding, you're covering something up. You're a victim. You're a victim of procrastination, distraction, stress. And stress, by the way, leads to sickness, disease, and death, y'all. Give me an amen in the chat if you have witnessed somebody stress themselves to death. And people will even say things like, oh man, this job is gonna be the death of me. Watch what you say, watch what you do, watch what you listen to, y'all, because stress is a killer. Okay, so now that I done brought you all the way down, let me bring you back up. So I'm going to tell you to keep it real. I'm also going to tell you to keep it fun. Okay, if you're having writer's block, that means you're having some stress, some anxiety, some triggering things that are keeping you from succeeding. So you need to ask yourself, all right, what did I do when I used to keep it fun? Who is in my success circle? What's your circle of 5? Who are those people that keep you going, like keep you excited, laughing like your kids? Um, Going to the park. Somebody mentioned going to the park earlier. Going to hang outside, have some fun. That's what you need to do. If you're experiencing writer's block, that's a signal and a sign to you that you need to get on the phone with your friends, and you need to schedule a girls' night out, schedule a boys' night out, go to a sporting event. I know we under the coronavirus, we got this thing going on. So it's not really a whole lot you can do outdoors, but you got to be creative and do stuff indoors. Have a family game night, have a family movie night, put on a concert, put on a play, do something silly. Give yourself permission to just be silly, just be goofy. Okay. My other piece of advice for my folks that say they have writer's block is to keep it moving. Get up, dance with the kids, get in the mirror, walk around, do some stairs, drive around the block. Because I know you can't really go out to a baseball game, but what is it that you can control? Let's focus on that. That's what I like to tell people. Get up and move around. You're going to feel better. Okay. Here's another question that I get all the time. LT, how do I sell more books? How do I sell more books? I got this book. Ain't nobody buying it. What's going on? Okay, here's my question. Here is my answer that I give to everybody. You need to sign up for the sales training. You need to learn how to sell books. There's a specific way that authors have to do it. Okay, for those of you that are in my course right now, you're going to get this bonus sales training in week 6. So don't worry, okay? Now, you're going to learn what authors do to sell books. You're going to learn about a sales cycle. You're going to learn when to buy ads. Is it okay to buy ads? Is it a waste of money to buy ads? Because some of the ads are a waste of money. So we're going to learn about that. You're going to learn about running a campaign. You're going to learn about promotions. You're going to learn about launch parties, sales funnels, lead magnets, tasty posts, social media marketing one-on-one, building a tribe about your book, starting a movement around your book, and branding yourself around your book, okay? Now, those are some sales terms that you're going to hear from people in the sales industry, but these are some terms that you're going to hear from LT about book categories. There's different sales categories, y'all. This is what I have observed about authors with their books. This is what I have observed with me, with my 5 books. The first 10 books, those are going to be your love sales. Those are going to be people that just love you. That's your mama and her friends, your cousins, your nephews. Okay, they're going to buy your book because they love you. Then you're going to have some sympathy sales, okay? People who keep hearing about that book and they just going to be like, sweetheart, I'm so glad you wrote that book. Let me just go ahead and buy it just because you my sweetheart, you my spouse, or you know, you my sister. So I'm going to just buy it from you because I feel sorry for you, girl, because I know ain't nobody buying your book. Then you're going to have your targeted sales, which are like your coworkers. Those are your next 20 sales. Those are the people that are just kind of nosy and they just kind of want to know what you're writing about. They're going to buy your book just to be nosy, okay? Then you got your marketed sales. You know, you're going to go around the neighborhood, talk to people. You're going to go to the library. You know, you're going to target some people. You're going to market to them. They're going to buy your books. And then you're going to have some accidental sales. Some people that just, oops, I just accidentally stumbled upon this book and I bought it, but I'm not really interested in it. I'm never going to read it. It's just going to sit up on the shelf. So I call those accidental sales. They just, oops, I thought this was going to be something for me and it ain't. Then you're going to have them fake sales. When you got family members, they're going to be like, girl, let me see what you got in this book. Again, trying to be nosy. Then you're going to have the fun sales. You're going to go to events and be like, yeah, I got my books. You're going to sell. You're going to make some sales. And then you're going to get really down into the authentic sales. These are the people who are in your target market. And when you discover these people, that's when your sales are going to explode and go through the roof, because you have finally gone through enough people saying no to you that you're going to find the people that say yes to you because you're actually solving their problem. That is what your book is going to do. Your book is a product. You are in the sales industry now. Your book is a product, and any product that is going to be sold in the marketplace is going to be a problem solver. So you are going to solve somebody's problem, and that is how you're going to sell your book to your authentic target market. That's why I ask you to think about it before you even get busy on writing that book. Think about who you're writing it for. All right, so those are some of the questions. If you guys have questions, put the questions in the chat so I can address some more questions. The average author, here's some statistics for y'all. The average author sells about 5 books a month, and that is with some promotional strategies. The average royalty is about $4 per book on Amazon, which is the biggest seller of books in the world. Now, your superstar authors are going to sell about 30 books a month with some serious marketing machines. Okay. Your amazing focused authors will buy ads and run campaigns, and they will consistently make sales in their sleep all day long and twice on Sunday. Okay. You have to have a marketing machine in order to make consistent sales. It's just like anything else. All right. So we're going to talk about LT's book club. I'm doing a webinar series this Friday. It's going to be about book clubs. The next Friday after that, it's going to be about book parties. I just came up with this little slogan. I am looking for success addicts. Contact me for your next fix. LT, the buddy teacher. All right, so here's one of my favorite books. And I got 6 books that are in my book club. You know how Oprah got her book club? LT got her book club too. This is my number 6, Think and Grow Rich. All right, this is one of those sales, you know, my husband actually introduced me to this Think and Grow Rich book concept. I would have never bought that book myself. This actually falls under accidental sales because my husband actually bought it. He read it, he liked it, and he told me to read it. So it accidentally ended up on my bookcase, and I'm so glad it did, because it actually is a book that helped flip my mindset from teacher to entrepreneur. So I love it. So this book was written in about 1937, and up to this day, it has sold 100 million copies. There are 2 quotes that I love from this book. The first one is, "You are the master of your destiny." I've always believed that, but didn't know why. And when I read this book, I understood why. Another quote is, "When defeat comes, accept it as a signal that your plans are not sound. Rebuild those plans and set sail once more toward your coveted goal." Napoleon Hill. I love this book. I love it, love it, love it. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. This book could be worth $1 million to you. Now, if you look at this book, it's a very simple book. It doesn't have a fancy cover. So when you guys start thinking about your covers, I want you to really take a look at this book. And I want you to put in the chat, how fancy is this cover? How much do you think it costs to actually create that cover? Put that in the chat. Do you think you could create that cover? So people say, you know, you can't judge a book by its cover. Unfortunately, readers and buyers do judge books by their covers. However, when your book is this famous, actually the cover don't really matter. Okay, so let me see. Let's see if we have any questions in the chat. What we got going on in the chat? Yes, power in words. Is writer's block for all types of writing or more manuscripts to expose personal stories? I've successfully got accepted into a couple of writers groups on LinkedIn and Facebook. Ooh, good. Okay, so writer's block actually applies to any kind of writing. If you're writing a research paper, if you're writing an essay to get into a college, if you're writing anything, you get writer's block when you become afraid and intimidated of the written word. When you're not confident in your abilities, you get writer's block because you're scared and you're hiding. That's what I have noticed that writer's block comes from. When you are scared to share with your thoughts because you don't think that person values what you have to say. And that's my theory on where writer's block comes from. And we shall see. We'll investigate that a little bit more. Number 5, this is my number 5 favorite book, The 4-Hour Work Week by Timothy Ferriss. Once again, this is one of the books that my husband exposed me to. I actually would have never read it if he had not told me. You probably should check this out. Love it, love it, love it. It has sold 2.1 million copies. And I think it was written like in 1998 or something. You guys can Google that for me. I didn't get a chance to look that up. But what I love about what Timothy Ferriss has said, and he has a podcast, by the way, he says, what we fear doing most is usually what we most need to do. Ah, it's so true. But you are the average of the 5 people you associate with most. So do not underestimate the effects of your pessimistic, unambitious, or disorganized friends. Timothy Ferriss. I think that says it all right there. My favorite book, number 4 in LT's book club, is Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad Poor Dad, written in the 90s, has sold 32 million copies. All right. Of course, it is a bestseller. Bestseller, by the way, means you've sold over 100,000 copies. So these folks are beyond bestseller. These folks are in the millions, right? We want to hit 100,000. That's our freedom number, folks. 100,000. And Robert T. Kiyosaki says, winners are not afraid of losing. I love that. Winners are not afraid of losing. You're only poor if you give up. Love it. If you're the kind of person who has no guts, you just give up every time life pushes you. I'd rather welcome change than cling to the past. And this is one of my big ones. The love of money is the root of all evil. The love, the love, the love. Not money, the love. Robert Kiyosaki. All right, here's another good one. Number 3, The Power of Positive Thinking. And notice there's 2 different covers there. The actual cover that would have caught my eye is the one at the bottom with the flower. I would have bought that book. But once again, my biggest influencer, my biggest motivator is my husband. And he bought The Power of Positive Thinking. He bought the red one. And the red one is what I read, but the one on the bottom is actually what would have caught my eye. Okay. So you see how these accidental sales, like my husband be buying these books and they be accidentally ending up in front of me. You see how them accidental sales be happening? So this book was written back in 1952 and it has sold 15 million copies as of today. And Norman Vincent Peale says, the trouble with most of us is that we would rather be ruined by praise than saved by criticism. Oh, boom, boom, that hurt. I love this day, my life, my loved ones, my work in the Lord's hands. Yeah, let me go back up to that first one. The trouble with most of us is that we would rather be ruined by praise than saved by criticism. Ouch. This is powerful. This is a powerful quote right now because you guys got these manuscripts and these are your personal stories. These are your personal ideas. These are your sensitive thoughts. And it's time to start sharing them with people, and it's opening yourself up to constructive criticism, which is very, very, very scary. But I'm telling you right now, as an author of 5 books, it doesn't get easier at all. But your skin gets thicker and you look at the criticism as a way to get better. and you look at it as an opportunity instead of a weapon that hurts you, you look at it as medicine to cure you. That's literally the way that I look at constructive criticism now. It's medicine to cure me. It's something that's going to help me make my products and services better for future clients. So if you look at it that way, and you're in business to serve people, constructive criticism becomes, less painful. All right, drum roll. Are you ready for number 2? Let's see. Number 2, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, written in 1989, sold 25 million copies. And the author says, most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to do what? Reply, reply, reply. Okay, I think that one speaks for itself. And number 1, the all-time favorite reading of all time in history of mankind. Number 1, the Holy Bible, written somewhere around 1200 to 165 BC, and then in the 1st century for the New Testament. Sold 5 billion copies around the world. One of my favorite scriptures, not really my favorite, but one of the ones that I really like, that I think is relevant for today, is therefore, my beloved brothers and sisters, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that in the Lord your labor is not in vain. 1 Corinthians 15:58. And I want to let you know, author, your labor is not in vain. Because 50 years from now, 70 years from now, 100 years from now, people will be sitting around the table talking about the book that you wrote. So when you start getting writer's block, you think about that. Okay? All right. So I went to a webinar this week, and the question was how to become a bestseller. All right. So here's some golden nuggets. Let me see what's in the chat. The cover, $10. I get it now. Thanks. Amen. Amen. All right. If you guys have questions, make sure you put them in the chat. This is a big question. So how to become a bestseller? So the webinar that I looked at was actually sponsored by Teachable, which is where I host my online courses. Teachable sent me an email and said, hey, we have this webinar. It's free. Go ahead and sign up. So I was like, cool, let me go ahead and sign up. To my surprise, it was an author who is a best-selling author from the United Kingdom. Her name is Susie K. Quinn, and she was the presenter, and it was an amazing webinar because it talked about, and of course, she's doing the webinar to sell courses, right? She's selling a course that was actually created by a guy named Mark Dawson, who's also in the UK. He's a best-selling author. But the best thing about the webinar is it gave us some secrets, it gave us some breakdowns, and it gave us some good information about how to become a best-selling author from a person who is actually a best-selling author. So I love it. All right, so these are the nuggets. I broke it down for you guys. These are the golden nuggets that I learned from this webinar on how to become a best-selling author. Now, this particular webinar was for fiction writers, but you know LT is gonna flip it for y'all, and I'm gonna always flip it. And look out for my nonfiction writers, because I believe that the stuff that we go through in our real lives, like, we can't make this stuff up, y'all. Especially teachers, educators, people who work with children. We can't make this stuff up. Like, it's better than fiction. All right, so what's a bestseller status? 100,000 copies sold. Again, the presenter was Susie K. Quinn. She's a fiction writer for 15 years. She has her college degree in creative writing. And she gave us 3 secrets of best-selling fiction books, which also apply to nonfiction. Secret number 1, she said these books have pre-made target audiences. So I'm teaching you guys about pre-made target audiences. I'm teaching you in this course that you really need to think about your audience before you get into your whole meat and potatoes of your book. And I'm really pushing you guys to go back to that outline, re-examine your outline. If you haven't done that outline yet, you got to do that outline. because it's really going to make things clear for your readers. Remember, books aren't for the authors. Books are for the readers. Books are for the readers. So you got to cater to those readers, okay? So again, the best-selling books in the world have a pre-made targeted audience, okay? The book Eat, Pray, Love targeted childless women in their 30s. The book called The Beach targeted young backpackers and students in their gap year after high school before college. And the book Girl on the Train targeted commuters. All right, so in the chat, I want you to tell me who and what and where and how did you decide your target audience? What is your target audience? Have you thought about it? Has your target audience changed? Because sometimes that happens. You start writing something and then you end up way off in left field somewhere and you're like, wait a minute, I wasn't trying to, and that's okay because you're doing the creative process and things change. All right, so that's secret number one. Secret number two, these best-selling books have a strong, simple one-sentence premise, okay? She gave us some good ideas that evolved around teen fiction. So here's a couple of one-sentence premises. Okay, so the first one is girl falls in love with vampire, okay? The second one she gave us was 12 teens fight to the death. And then the last one was grieving girlfriend receives 10 letters from her deceased boyfriend. Those first two were very, 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 very popular fiction books. Can you guys name for me in the chat what was the name of the book that had the premise of the girl falls in love with the vampire? Put that in the chat if you remember what that was. And then the other one is 12 teens fight to the death. Tell me what book that was, if you remember what famous fiction book that was, because those were the premises that took them to bestseller. All right, let's see. Mara says, my target audience are Black women entrepreneurs aspiring to be entrepreneurs. Yes. Erica says Twilight. Kelvin says Hunger Games. Yes, Twilight and Hunger Games, absolutely bestsellers. All right, secret number three. Secret number three. Readers want, and I'm gonna make this real big so y'all can really see this. Readers want more of the same thing. Loyal fans like to know what to expect from their favorite authors. According to Susie K. Quinn, it is okay for new authors to stand on the shoulders of giants. Whew, breath of fresh air, thank goodness. Kind of felt like I was copying somebody. No, you just got inspired. She says James Patterson has 147 bestsellers, and he's at the point now where he uses ghostwriters. She says Stephen King writes thrillers, Lee Childs writes thrillers, lots of authors write thrillers. Okay, so what does that have to do with us? All right, let me apply it to nonfiction. The lesson for us is stay on target. Aim at your target audience. Create a clear premise and give the readers what they want. So if you know that you have a target audience and you know what your target audience wants, don't worry about getting writer's block. Just give them what they want and you will be just fine, okay? Now I am gonna do a quick review and I do wanna hear in the chat from everybody, what did you learn tonight? Give me 2 big takeaways that you learned from tonight's talk. And then I'm gonna go into Q&A and then you are gonna be on your way because it's already been 42 minutes. And I don't wanna take up all your time because I want you to get back into your writing. Okay, so we did a review. We did a quick Q&A. How do I get over writer's block? That's a question that people are asking on Facebook all day long. So if you run across somebody and they're suffering from writer's block, just let them know. All right, y'all, let's keep it real. You want to really talk about writer's block? Let's really talk about what's going on with you. Okay. You're going to tell them to keep it fun, keep it light, and they need to go talk to their spouse. Somebody gave me some advice. Somebody who's in my success circle, who I highly admire and respect, told me, you probably need to go relax and have sex. Ooh, I'm just saying, sometimes that works, y'all. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Okay, we're going to talk about sales once we get into the sales cycle. Remember those categories? Okay, LT got 8 categories of sales. You ain't going to see that nowhere else, y'all. This is specifically for nonfiction writers. Okay, LT's book club. If you've read these books, you kind of have an idea as to how LT's mind works. Okay, and that's how to become a bestseller from the webinar that I went to this week. Boom, that is it, y'all. LT is out the building. I love you guys. See you at the next training. Peace.